Okay. So again, the biggest agenda item is the one at the top, which is the work we're doing to migrate off of AWS. Let's just go through the list here and get people's updates. I know progress is being made and we're getting close, but it's always tricky to get that last I dotted and T crossed. Chart registry, rock, and SD core done. So, Andy, I know you did rock. I assume Gabriel did the core. Is there anything, any catches, anything we should know?
Not really. I mean, everything, the reusable workflows were updated, so everything gets automatically published on or related to the GitHub charts. So,
Good, good.
yeah.
Um, so there's no DNS changes required here because you changed the registry name in the Ansible scripts. So once these are all done, we should just be able to silently turn the registry off on the AWS server and no one would be the wiser.
Yeah, but do you also need to do the same thing for the SD-RAN
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
charts?
We still need to
Right.
do that one.
Okay.
Uh, okay, so I just wondered if there were any gotchas that had come up. So on the image registry, both are in progress. I've seen some pull requests, and I'm not 100% sure I'm up to date on the status of those.
So for the SD core, AMF is already completed. So we know the whole pipeline got updated, and we know what to do. So the only thing is we need to just to replicate the same thing that we did in the AMF across the other network functions or the rest of the code base, basically.
And the situation is similar for the rock charts. The full pipeline is working for the EtherRock API repo, and it just needs to be replicated. And thanks to Eric and Gabriel and Sean for all helping me with that.
Okay, good. So um, there's a consensus on how to do it. I know there was some question about generality and reproducible.
Yeah, so Gabriel and I had a chat last week about differences between the reusable workflows in the OMEC project and the ONOS project. And I think we agree that it would be good to have these look as close as possible so that, the same person could, in theory, maintain both of these projects and not have to, understand a new system. Right now, I guess my goal is to just get things working with as few changes as possible to what's already there in the ONUS project repo. So using OMIC as, a reference if something's not working. But just get things working, and then as a follow-on, we can reduce the technical debt by making these closer if we choose to.
Got it. Thank you. So with respect to SD-RAN, I don't know how much time Wujong has. He's been alerted all of this going on and says he'll get to it, but um, at some point, yeah, just note, we may have to figure out how to step in and help him out. But let's just leave it where it is for right now till the other ones are all done. Okay, docs. Ethernet or Ether. The main Ether docs are done. SD core I know is in progress. It was a matter of you were actually changing the docs at the same time.
Yeah, so the new documentation, so at the moment, with the latest upgrade or the latest version of Sphinx, we were using, or there was being used an extension that's called Sphinx Multiversion. However, that is incompatible with the latest Sphinx version. And moreover, this extension, the last version or the last release was from 2020, so it hasn't been maintained for a while. So what I was doing is basically trying to find a replacement, an alternative to help us with the multi-versioning part. So I think I have an solution or at least an alternative that I'm kind of going through at this moment and using like GitHub Actions. But I need to kind of just, I'm going through the last changes and need to open the PR and see whether that works. So there is two things that need to be fixed at the moment to complete that task. Um, Making sure that the replacement of this or removal of this Sphinx multiversion and use something else because I was checking on the internet, there is another extension that's called Sphinx country versioning, but still this other one is also deprecated. So
So in terms
um,
of supporting multi-version,
mhm,
so that's what's giving you trouble, which I've abandoned on the Ether docs. But
mhm.
you want to keep it because you want links back to the older versions.
Not really. I mean, the only thing that I wanted to be is just to maintain the code as same as it was before. So because I don't have that much background from the perspective of why there was the reason, have all these multiversion and things like that. So
Well, the
I'm
multi-version was every time we did a release, we just made it possible to go get back and get the doc for the older release. That's all there
mhm,
is.
right. So yeah, so the only thing that I'm trying to do is just trying to maintain the same kind of workflow as it was before. So that's kind of the only reason. If we are not interested in that, that will make my life way much easier and
I
just
think it's your call. There was enough. One, we were not supporting the old versions, and there was enough difference from the old versions. It didn't make any sense to maintain the old versions, so I just deleted the multi-version capability from the Ether docs.
okay.
If that's your call, then you're certainly free to do that.
No, okay. So that's even make things way much easier for me. Yeah, so that's kind of the other thing. And then besides that, sorry, that's one. The multiversion one thing. The other thing was I need to validate whether it's supposed to be that the workflow is updated to kind of publish the documentation in GitHub pages, but I need to validate. I'm not gonna be able to. I haven't been unable to get to that point because I have this issue
Got
with the
it.
multiversion.
Yeah.
So,
Got it. Got it.
yeah, that's the other thing. And the third one that it was kind of like part of my wish list itself was to kind of change the theme for the Sphinx. Uh, to something that is more kind of more friendly as well from the font perspective or more modern and maintained. So that's kind of like it was just something additional that I wanted to add as well there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so probably it's easier just gonna remove the multiversion and that's it.
Okay. Yeah. That would be. I think that's a perfectly fine solution.
Mm.
Um, yeah. And when you get to the point, um, the request I can. Well, I can show you the request I made. I can actually point you to the ticket so you know what to ask LF for
Oh yeah.
on the DNS change because it's literally you just put a CNAME in.
Okay.
You replace the CNAME. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was reading on the GitHub documentation. But again, I haven't reached to that point yet. The main thing that I'm trying to reach at this moment is to make sure that we can publish the documentation at least on the GitHub pages, and then we can just redirect this to any domain that we want to.
Yep, got it. Okay, good. And again, the same thing goes for SD-RAN. I've pointed Wuzhong at what needs to happen. And that one, maybe I'll just step in and do it because it's even I can do it. All right. Jenkins, this is mostly you, Eric.
Yeah, I am currently working on the quick start action or workflow to replace the pipeline. Um, I've got it running, but at this point I'm still just sort of finding little incompatibilities right now. Well, like immediately before the meeting, I was looking at logs that indicate I need to make sure Python requests is on there, and I think I need to install an older version of Helm. Uh, was using latest. So anyway, just little things like that, trying to recreate some of the specifics that are on the Jenkins builder uh, on it, at runtime in the GitHub action. But yeah, mostly like things are working pretty well. I think this is once I have the right software on here, I think this should be good.
So one of
Because
the
the
issues,
job itself is working. It
got
just
it,
will
got
hit
it,
a certain thing and be like, no, 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 this doesn't work for me.
got it. So all of the Jenkins jobs start up an AWS VM to run the job in, and those, and you know this because you helped build
Hmm.
the VM image. How do you, and that VM image had to have exactly the right combination of things in it for Ether to come up and run. How do you replicate that? Or are you entirely running inside of Docker?
So it's basically just so some of the things that it has are the Jenkins image that we're using. So the base image that it spins up when the Jenkins job runs has like a Python virtual env baked into it in a certain directory. So I just have to have the workflow install Python and then replicate that virtual env in the same place. Um, yeah, and then, it's got Helm and kubectl pre-installed, so we need to install those at runtime. Just things like that. And so that's why there are these little things where it's like, okay, I've got that done, but it looks like the virtual env doesn't have requests in it, and need to specify the version of Helm.
Yep,
So
yep, got it. That now
yeah,
we understand where
just
you're
just
at.
little tweaks here and there.
Yeah, got it. All right, that's good. Anything else, Eric?
Uh, I don't think so. There may eventually be some changes that I'll need to introduce to the test just to make some tweaks. Like one thing, oh yeah, I had forgotten I put this in yesterday. Uh, to get it to work on these kind of weaker agents that,
Mm-hmm.
the free version on GitHub, I had to put like just a short sleep in at one point when the Kubernetes cluster comes up because basically the job was failing because it didn't have any wait or retry, and on other systems it would come up in time, and it just seemed like um, Ansible was failing because by the time it got like two steps down from where it started to where it tried to connect to one of the nodes, it just wasn't enough time. So yeah, there may be some small changes I need to make.
And this particular one was Kubernetes related.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be
Um,
anything functional. It'll just be sort of adapting things like that.
Yeah,
Eric,
yeah, I can understand why you'd have to do something like that.
um, I don't know if you are starting this from scratch, but so we already have something like end-to-end testing from in the OMEC project repository, and I share the link of the GitHub action that we already have there. When the canonical team was working on enabling this end-to-end, they also faced the issue with the Kubernetes. So they deploy, I think it's a kind cluster that was kind of like lighter weight, and they didn't have to deal with these resource constraints that the GitHub runnings have, just in case.
All right, I added the link there.
Okay, I will take a look.
All right.
Thank you.
There's another issue here, which is ownership. Gabriel, it's pretty clear what the point is. But go ahead.
Yeah, so last week I was kind of facing issues publishing a container image for the base repository, and that's where I started kind of like checking multiple things. And then when I was kind of checking with Andy how he was able to kind of push whether he had any issues pushing the container image into the honest repository. And then I was trying to kind of figure out what the problem was on my end, whether it was the token was kind of expire, whether there were not enough permissions for the token or things like that. So I started kind of checking in details to see what the limitations was for the token, whether the token was attached or linked to the ONF bot account. And these questions kind of Eric helped me to kind of clarify. And then, when going through all this, I realized there were like 13 owners on the OMEC project itself. And the reason why I was kind of going through this again is because I was trying to see whether the token has enough permissions. And in this case, the token was attached to the ONF bot, and the ONF bot is also one of the owners. So that's what I wanted to bring this to attention to see whether this having the 13 owners, it's okay, or should be better controlled, or what is uh, just ignore that and leave it as is.
Well, there is undoubtedly out of date stuff that should be deleted without question. Um, I would think between AJ, Andy, and Sean, even though they didn't, Sean and Andy, I don't think worked in OMEC per se, they should have a pretty good sense of if there's anything critical, and I would delete it if it's not.
Well, it's just changing the role of the people who have the
Yeah.
ownership, right?
Changing the role, yeah. I mean, in particular, I can't imagine CI triage is anything that we need to keep, but maybe
No,
Andy.
that's a different topic.
Okay.
Yeah, but for example, I don't know if you can open the OMEC project or organization on GitHub. I think you are also an owner there, so you are gonna be able to see. Um, if you go to people, and then on the membership side, right under the invite member, just click owners. So these all the people who are owners in the organization.
Yeah, so I don't know of any reason why ONF bot would still need to be there.
Well, that's the one that we use for the token.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the
So
ONF
one you use
bot
for the token.
yeah,
does need
yeah,
to be
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So, so LF, I assume there's some good reason to be there.
Yes.
We could do this in real time.
Yeah,
So Lyle was originally the guy at Sprint, right?
I have no idea. Yeah.
I was.
He hasn't been
wondering who
around in
else remembers.
years. Well, I think you retired.
So what do you? Yeah. So
And then change role, and then
all right. Oh. All right. I don't see any reason why Brian would still need to be there. Anyone else here?
Yeah, I mean, he's gone with
Yeah.
a couple of years. Same with Carmelo and Betry.
Is Badri still? He was showing up every now and then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is true. He does show up to meetings now and again. He's got a new role now with some networking company in Canada, so I'm not sure. I guess we could ask him. I think for safety purposes, really,
Yeah. I
the
I
default
would
should be
say
removed.
if someone's showing up now and again, they don't need to be an owner on the org.
Mm.
a massive amount of power.
Yeah, they can ask if if they need something done.
Hmm.
Okay,
I'm
so
I'm glad I'm not on it. I mean, I'll ask if I need something done
okay,
at home.
so Zach's the last one here, and he hasn't been active here in some time. So again, anyone can ask. All right, I think I'm good with this. Is anyone else?
What about Linux Foundation?
I think
Yeah,
they
that needs to be there.
Okay, that's you, is it?
That
there's
that
a legal
account,
issue,
yeah, that account ties into some of our automations and our
and
project
Right.
control
and
center.
Linux.
Yeah, and
And
also for
yeah, it
like,
seems it seems a high level of access, for a remote account.
it's
But
part
yeah, I
it's
mean,
part of
I guess it should be
Sean,
fine.
it's a requirement for all Linux Foundation projects to have that account on their GitHub repos as an owner because
Oh,
it
okay.
ensures ownership level access even if like the TST changes out or the PMO changes out or IT changes out. It's an access control as well.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay,
yeah, we
thanks.
But we
we
don't,
did this one. We did this one, Sean, and they require it.
yeah, it's not, it's like me being on there. I don't go in and do anything, but if, for some reason everybody else on the TST is unavailable, there's somebody within LF that has access.
Okay, I think we improved it. Let's
One question before we move on. Why do we have to have the ONF bot there and not using a token from the OMEC project itself?
I have no idea.
Because it seems that there are two accounts there, right? So OMEC project and ONF bot. Um, it seems I would say that this OMEC project is not even used, or who has access to that?
Yep. Let me check to see if I even have credentials for that one.
I don't know of any who uses that.
Yeah. If that's the right account, I have it by email rather than username, so I'm not sure if that's even the same account, but it looks like I have credentials for it, but yeah, I don't think it's being used anywhere. So if we want to lower its privilege level, I'm fine with that. If we see any issues pop up from that, we can change it or
Yeah, because the only thing that we're using from
us.
the GitHub perspective is that the token, and you cannot confirm that the token is attached or linked to the ONF boat. So,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and I've had to log in to the ONF bot account multiple times to make changes and fixes. I don't think I've ever logged into OMEC projects, so
Mm, okay. Yeah, and then if you go to the next tab that is in Teams, Larry,
Yeah.
that's kind of the second part. Basically, I went through this kind of clean up. There were lots of teams before, so there were some teams with no members. And the only thing is this question about this Omec CI triage. I don't know what
so
that, Eric,
yeah,
is.
the only repo it has access to is .github, and it has triage rights there. I think it was probably created at one point just to
Probably at the
allow
beginning when we just
Gulsum
were,
to
yeah,
do reviews and be tagged on pull
hmm
requests.
yeah. So should we just delete this team because Gulson is not contributing anymore, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's fine. I'm just there because I created the team and didn't
right.
remove myself from it.
Okay, so to remove the team,
Uh, I think you gotta click on
I
the check
I can
mark on
do
the
that
left
if
hand
you
side.
want.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah,
I,
go
I,
ahead.
I can do it
Okay.
myself as well, but I didn't want to do it anything,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
unilaterally.
All right. All right, SD, anything else in infrastructure? Okay, SD core. Some of this is repetition, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of repetition of what we discussed, right? So the reusable workflows are updated now to kind of publish Helm charts, container images, and documentation to GitHub, and to validate that we are able to push the container images. So we made that release for the AMF. It got properly updated or pushed to the GitHub registry. That image basically has lots of improvements there, including there was an issue that the iOS MCM team found about the handover, N2 base handover, so that the issue got fixed there. From the security side, that's something that we have been talking, a few times in the past. We also added the software bill of materials through a reusable workflow that uses SIFT for the AMF. And also there was several things that I was kind of like looking into the make file. There were, I think, were historical there, but these were outdated, probably not needed anymore. So we made lots of changes into the make file improvements. And also the container image, the resulting container image, now it has many more labels to kind of provide as many details as possible for users when using these images. So that was something that didn't happen before. In the past, we have only 3 labels. We had lots of labels, but those lots of labels were applied to the building stage, but they were never copied to the actual release image. So all this kind of got updated and properly fix these missing labels. So now that we have the AMF ready, we need to kind of replicate the same thing across the different code base from the makefile perspective, from the container image, from the Docker file, and from the reusable workflows, at least these 3 things, and then start creating releases for that. And then we need to kind of create a new version of Helm charts that includes all used new versions of the images.
Okay, good. And I've seen a couple of PRs go by, but it looks like they get merged before I get to them. But that's perfectly good. On the on-ramp wallet.
Yeah, so on the on-ramp side, we are testing different ways of different deployments. So the one related to Kubernetes, we are deploying a multi-host Kubernetes cluster, and but that's also related to the Helm charts. But in the past, there was not really control of where to deploy the different components. So even though we can deploy a multi-host Kubernetes controllers, but the different components can be deployed anywhere in the different nodes. So we made improvements into the Helm chart to kind of be able to control what nodes could be used to deploy what. So based on the different labels, now we can kind of fully control the different components where they get deployed, and that's because of some testing that we need, such that we need a multi-host Kubernetes cluster, but we need only the core network to be deployed in a given node. So there was that capability for the UPF and for the parts of the control plane, but there was not such a capability for Mongo of Kafka. And on top of that, on-ramp is meant, or at least how it has been kind of like created, it seems like it assumes that the master node is where the 5G control plane, the 5G system gets deployed. So all the routing and everything is basically based on the master node. So we're working now to see how we can actually make the different changes for the workers node when we want to deploy, let's say, a remote UPF or a collocated UPF with a GNLB, how we can handle that part. And so that's kind of like the changes or improvements for the Ether 5GC and for the Kubernetes cluster itself.
So you need to configure worker nodes for parts of the control plane.
The user plane, that would be for the UPF primarily, because
It only applies to the UPF?
we are mainly interested on the UPF. So
Okay.
we could do also the control plane, but at the moment we are just interested on the user plane. So basically the UPF, and that's where we have the the whole routing or the router that we have inside of that.
I was kind of, I thought that was there, and then therefore you were trying to make other changes to support moving parts of the control plane, but it's still the UPF.
Yeah, no, it's the UPF at the moment because it again on ramp assumes that the UPFs get deployed on the master nodes always. So that's what we had.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's yeah. So I'm right now. I'm gonna probably throughout the week we need to do the whole release of the other images. There's gonna be a new release of the Helm charts, and this of course needs to be updated in Ether on ramp to use the latest version of the Helm chart. So during this week and next week we gonna continue working on this and update sync up all the dependencies for on ramp.
Okay, good, got it. I'll watch for those. All right, is there anything else? I see some folks have joined since we started. Any other issues that we've missed?
An update from iOS MCN team, because currently we are working on multiple bug fixes, including service request. Maybe within the coming weeks we'll be submitting the PRs for the bug fixes, including end-to-end handover.
Perfect.
I'm slow here, outdent. I'm sorry, I always forget the acronym. iOS
-MCN.
MCN. Okay, good, thank you. Anyone else? All right, great work, everyone. See you again in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Well,